amazing career.
The final season of Girls, is that sad and happy at the same time?
It is, yeah. We just finished this past summer. I don't think it's hit me because we've done it for the past 6 years during the summer, so I think this summer I'll finally realize that I don't have a job.
Anything you can tell us about Star Wars 8?
That it happens.
Another thing I've drawn out of him. When you go to this theater, you will learn that it happened. Plus, what's your favorite thing about Hollywood?
You know, storytelling and its effect, I think.
What don't you like about Hollywood?
Everything else.
It's all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our very special guest is Adam Driver, one of Hollywood's most acclaimed talents. After a successful run in the world of theater, Adam shot to stardom as Adam Sackler in HBO's hit comedy Girls, which is in its final season starting in February. He's since gone on to tackle a variety of high-profile roles, including the villain Kylo Ren in the new Star Wars blockbuster franchise. And as if that wasn't enough, he's currently starring in 2 films getting rave reviews: the Martin Scorsese epic Silence and the indie picture Patterson, both out now in select theaters. You obviously like to work.
I do.
The final season of Girls, is that sad and happy at the same time?
It is, yeah. We just finished this past summer. I don't think it's hit me because we've done it for the past 6 years during the summer, so I think this summer I'll finally realize that I don't have a job.
Was it fun?
Yeah, it was a blast. I love the people. I mean, I feel it's a very, like, kind of cliche thing that people say about, you know, it's very familial in the front of the camera and behind the camera, but that's all the cliches are true in that case.
When you got the script, did you have to audition for it?
I did, yeah. I auditioned, I think it was one of the first people that she saw, actually.
Lena Dunham.
Yeah, Lena. Jenny was there, Jenny Connor, the producer and the director. And that was kind of it. I went in and I read, and then I went back, I think, a couple days later, and that was all.
Did you know it would be a hit?
No, I had no idea. I wasn't thinking of how it would come together or how people would receive it. You know, I was just happy to have a job. But apart from that, I was happy that it was, I guess, through Lena's voice. Her voice is very specific and good, you know, so I lucked out.
I'm going to miss it.
I'm going to miss it, yeah, a lot, I think. I think everyone was very happy to be ending it the way they did, and but at the same time, I'm going to still hopefully see those people more, so it won't be the end of anything.
You have to admit, though, your career spiraled from it.
Yeah, no, I owe a lot to that show. No. If they kept doing it, I would totally keep doing it.
I know people don't reveal a lot. I don't know why that is, but can you tell us anything about the last season? How will Hannah and Adam's relationship end?
I don't know. That I don't want to say.
But you shot it already.
Yeah, we did shoot it. But I think it ends how it ends.
Thanks a lot. We learned a lot, folks. I told you, through my instinctive desire to learn, I have weaned so much out for this man. Remember, you will learn as it ends that it ends.
Yeah.
What do you think the legacy will be? That show's going to be run for a long time in syndication.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say what the legacy of it. I think it was that there was three-dimensional female characters, and that is very much in short supply.
Do you think that Chloe has helped, and Lena Dunham has helped the role of women in Hollywood?
I think so. Yeah, I've given a lot of people a platform and feel empowered to create things.
And does she get the respect she deserves, do you think?
That's hard for me to say. I mean, I look at her through a different lens than I think everybody else does. But all kind of good things that happen to Lena, she completely deserves it.
How's she like working with her? You like it?
I love it. Yeah, she's very specific in her writing, and she's very open with creating a space for everyone to try anything they want to, and there's no pressure of time, you know, or pressure to get it right. It really is the best kind of great working environment.
How about Judd Apatow?
Great. I mean, he's not a. He's I would say not on set as much as Lena, but his writing is the same. It's just very specific and funny and always revealing, and the characters always have something three-dimensional to kind of play, and they make it very personal, so which always makes it easier to play, I think.
Now, one unusual thing about you is that you came into this from the military. Right? How did that happen?
I was interested in acting before I went into the military, and then, was very much filled with, patriotic spirit after September 11th, and wasn't doing anything that was really bettering anyone.
What branch did you serve?
The Marine Corps. And the September 11th happened, and by January I enlisted and was gone in February. But then after the military, you kind of have maybe a false sense that all civilian problems will be small compared to the military, and I was interested in acting, so I knew.
How long were you in?
For 2 years. And I knew it was a hard job to do, but if things didn't work out, I'd dumpster dive or live in the park, because that's what basically the Marine Corps is picking up trash. And
where did you serve?
Camp Pendleton.
Did you go overseas?
No, before I was supposed to go overseas, I broke my sternum in a mountain biking accident, and all my friends went, and I had to stay behind.
So you were stateside all the time?
Yeah.
Saved at Pendleton?
At Pendleton, yeah. Camp Horno in Pendleton.
What role did you have there?
Well, as SOI, School of Infantry, I trained as an 0311, which is a rifleman, and then I got to my unit, and they made me an 0341, which is a mortarman. So we kind of cross-trained in both.
Did you like the Marines?
I loved it, yeah.
Why?
The people. I joined because as I said, about the filled with patriotism, but then all those things kind of went away. Not that I wasn't still patriotic, I was, but the relationships that you form with people in the military is not comparable, or I haven't really found it yet in the civilian world, and it's very rare, and I miss the people part of it.
You also have an organization to promote the arts in the military?
We perform theater for a military audience, contemporary American plays. So I basically call friends or people I've worked with or people that I admire who are in the theater community, and I pick a play or we'll do monologues. And we'll travel to bases. We've been to, Camp Arif John in Kuwait, to Walter Reed Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, to on and off Broadway theaters in New York, to
That's
Camp
great.
Pendleton, where I was stationed at, and we just read these plays. No production value, no sets, no costumes, no lights. We just read them. Little to no rehearsal, and people just get the connection right away.
After the break, Adam on his new film, Patterson. Plus, we'll talk a little Star Wars. That's next. Adam Driver is on a roll. Girls ends this year, and he's got Patterson, and he's got The Silence, Martin Scorsese, and I've gotten very close to Martin lately, and I know he's really wrapped up in this film. And, of course, the Star Wars. What's Patterson about?
Patterson is about a couple over a 7-year period, just a life of these two, this relationship that kind of, he's a bus driving kind of poet, and she, creates things in the house, and it's just kind of a window into their life over a course of a week.
Bus driver who's a poet? Mm-hmm. He writes poetry after he does his bus route?
And during and before. He kind of writes it whenever he has time.
Is it a comedy?
There's funny parts of it. I'd say it's mostly funny, I guess.
Is it a slice of life movie?
Yes, yeah, I would say. It's kind of an antidote to heavy action movies or a lot of crisis. It's very much structured as a poem, in that you kind of pick it, you see Monday through Sunday. It's a relationship that is not, they give each other space and respect, which is oddly very, makes it unique.
Who's the girl?
Golshifteh Farahani.
And where was it filmed?
In Paterson a little bit, Paterson, New Jersey, which is...
So his name is Patterson?
His name is Patterson.
And the bus is in Patterson?
Yes, and he's a bus driver, and my last name is Driver, which Jim found very funny.
The UK Telegraph said, "Truly special, a breath-catching lesson in aloneness, but one that's fond of good company too. One-off encounters, daily coincidence, everything that watching the world attentively can tell us." With the current political climate in America, is this a story that will affect us?
Yes, and that, well, as much as any is, I guess. But it's very, much a celebration of details, I'd say, and reflection and being observant and kind of going down the same road many times and always being open to not knowing a right answer about everything and discovering something new.
Do you have to change your look for it?
I just had to cut my hair.
Okay, tell me about Star Wars. How did that happen for you?
I got a call while we were shooting, I think I was in the last day of the 4th season of Girls, I think, and they, it was, do you want to go to LA and meet JJ? And I was like, sure, and talk about Star Wars, and that was it. We met, and then one time, and he kind of walked me through it. There was no script to read, kind of plot points, and then we met again, and then I wanted to think about it for a while, and so I did, then met Kathy Kennedy and talked about it more, and then it was trying to schedule and make it work for 6 months after that.
You didn't have to audition?
No.
Did you like being the evil one?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Costumes are better. The lightsaber is way better. Plus people don't talk to you as much, which is really good. But yeah, I think the dark side is always, as a kid, I liked those movies and was always interested in stormtroopers. And
when you play the dark side like that, you believe in the character, right?
I believe in the character.
Yeah. In other words, the character doesn't think he's a bad guy, does he?
No. That was a frustrating thing getting ready for it, as everyone liked to tell you that you were the bad guy, but I definitely didn't think of him like that.
You work with some of the, in fact, you kill Harrison Ford, right?
I do, yeah. Well, you've met him, you'll see.
Oh, yeah.
You know why.
No, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he is.
Now you're starring in the next installment, and they do late next year. It's way off. Anything you can tell us about Star Wars 8?
That it happens. Another
thing I've drawn out of him. When you go to this theater, you will learn that it happened. Do you live in Star Wars 8? That's a direct question, Kylo.
Yeah. Depends what your idea of living is.
Another good one. What your idea of living may be.
Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. In your wisdom,
right.
Why has Star Wars been Star Wars?
The world that George Lucas originally created is very unique and specific, and there's all these details that are unexplained, and people have attached a lot of meaning to those details and made it personal to them, And at the heart of the story, it's really very simple. It kind of is about, a guy, Luke Skywalker, very, in a small town, desperate to kind of get out and feeling that he's called to do something greater than where he is. And that I think that theme is pretty universal. And, obviously, the relationship with your parents and your father, and, are you destined to follow in your, you kind of in jail because of your heritage, Can you overcome it? All these kind of themes are in it. The references that he stole from, the Kurosawa, and I think that kind of the visual look of it is beautiful.
And the followers are
devoted.
You're not kidding.
Yeah, right.
Sense.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot with social media?
No.
You stay off it?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
When we return with Adam Driver, we'll discuss his intense preparation for the Martin Scorsese film Silence. Stay with us. Let's discuss the Scorsese film,
Okay.
Silence. Now, this is an unusual. This takes us back to early centuries, right?
Yeah, 17th century.
17th century. And you are a Jesuit?
Jesuit priest, yeah.
And you and your fellow Jesuit, who's the other actor?
Andrew Garfield.
The two of you go to where?
We go to Japan to look for a mentor of ours that is rumored to have apostatized, to have renounced his faith, basically.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
Is it a dark story?
Comedy, believe it or not. No, it's very much.
You've revealed so much tonight, Adam.
Right. It is a dark story, but I don't think it's hopeless.
I hear you actually went to study the Jesuit theory, concepts working.
We did, yeah. Andrew more than myself, I think. He did the novitiate, or the, you know, but we went to Wales and St. Buenos together, you know, and did a silent retreat, which was pretty hilarious, I guess, in retrospect. But yeah, it's good to know. Part of what made the Jesuits, I guess, so popular to begin with was it's the kind of first sect of Catholicism, I think, that went to a different culture and adapted their culture as opposed to imposing a Western idea of what it was to worship. So it seemed only fair, I guess, that we tried to do the same.
Why did Silence get so long to be made?
I think if I understand it correctly, he was brought to Marty, you know, 28 years ago, and he liked the story but didn't really couldn't see it, I don't think. It's if you read the book, it's a hard thing to adapt, and I don't think he could see how you could do it, but was interested in the story. And then I think as his life changed and he had more experience or got older, suddenly he looked at it through a lens, I think, where it made sense to him. And then I think the last maybe 5-10 years was getting it out of a lot of litigation. I think there was a lot of rights issues, and the timeline in the story is all very compressed, and so him and Jay Cox, who wrote the script, tried to, I think, adapt it in the midst of all of that, and then finding money for a story about 17th century Jesuit priests. I can't imagine was very popular for some people because, you know, they don't have enough vision, I guess, as he does.
What's it like to be directed by him?
It's surreal because I grew up watching his movies, and even though I didn't come from, you know, an Italian family where crime, I mean, his movies are all over the map, I guess, but they're so personal, and I related to them in some way. But in a way, it's kind of affirming what you hope directors are like, what you hope someone like him will be like, which is, regardless of all the things that he's accomplished, he's very much embodies the practice of not knowing what the right answer is. You know, like giving you freedom. He hired you because he wants you to speak up and take ownership of your role.
So you can have input.
It's not a dictatorship by
that surprise you?
It's yeah, because of what he's accomplished. You think that he would be totally justified in saying that this is the way it's supposed to be, especially because he's been it's, you know, going on for 28 years. But he, yeah, I keep saying the same thing, but it's the best way I can really describe it. He doesn't know the right answer, and that's how he. And he also doesn't seem, even at this point in his career, to take for granted that he's making a movie. I think he very much knows that the effect that films had on him as such a young life. I mean, I haven't really psychoanalyzed him that much, but that, you know, all these Rossi movies and Rossellini were playing, and his TV as a kid, and at the same time going to the movie theater and seeing John Wayne movies and The Searchers, and I think he really personalized all those films and knows, you know, can testify to how much of an effect it had on him, and is very aware kind of the awesome power that films can have and doesn't take it for granted.
You seem, I would guess, to like diversity.
Yeah, diversity with
in
everything.
Roles.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You can't type you.
Yeah, maybe not.
Where'd you grow up?
Indiana.
Indiana.
I should have said more after that, but it was Indiana.
Where in Indiana?
Mishawaka, Indiana. You don't know it.
Is it near Indianapolis?
It's near South Bend. So it's South Bend, Notre Dame. It's in the northern kind of tip of Indiana. So
Notre Dame fan?
Not really. No, I should be. This is bad. My sister went to Notre Dame and everything, but I just didn't get into it.
What school did you go to?
Well, I guess when I got out of the military, I went to a year at University of Indianapolis, back in Indiana, obviously, and then to Juilliard at New York.
What was Juilliard like?
Juilliard is a conservatory, so you're basically there from 8 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, thinking about yourself and acting and wearing pajamas and crying, and it's the height of egotism. Yeah, it was. It was difficult transition from the military to acting school, you know, in the acting world, but I didn't know anything about it, and the acting culture or plays, playwrights. I didn't really have a good education until I came to Juilliard, and Juilliard I learned how to learn, I guess, which was invaluable. In retrospect, it was really, you know, the best school you can go to for acting, well, even at the time, but it was difficult. It was a difficult transition.
Do you know why you liked it so much?
I like that it's a service industry, you know, that it's still, the military is very much a service industry, but acting is also in service of something else. I think I'm also aware of how effective and long-lasting great storytelling is, that I don't think I came from a culture of really using language to express yourself, and I get to do this job where you're surrounded by people who are smarter than you and are very articulate, and when that all comes together with a group of other people to tell a story that's bigger than any one person, and the effect is, you know, far better than what you originally intended or thought was possible, and that affects people in a way. Like, I can speak from personal experiences, the film or theater that I've gone to that you keep going back to throughout the rest of your life, you know, the theater performances that have affected me for so long, to be able to have that as your job, and that with the potential that could be of service to people is, I think, a pretty amazing career, I guess.
I'll bet. You've done so well.
I've been lucky. I've been very lucky.
Yeah, luck plays a part. Paul Newman told me once that anybody in the business discussing their career who doesn't use the word luck is lying.
Oh, yeah. Well, then I'll say it again. It's very lucky.
In our final moments with Adam Driver, we'll play a little game of If You Only Knew, plus he'll take your questions. Don't click away. We're back with Adam Driver. 2 films, Patterson and The Silence, are out now. You can see him everywhere. He's a priest. He's a Jesuit. He's a bus driver. He's a poet. He's evil in Stardust. He's
Stardust.
Star Wars. Stardust. You'll see him also in Stardust.
Same
he
thing.
sings the song. It's the same thing. And he's in Girls. And then his forthcoming new film will be Boys. We play a little game of If You Only Knew, right? I throw some things at you.
Oh, boy.
Funniest fan encounter.
Funniest fan encounter, there's a scene in Girls where I pee on Lena's leg in the shower, and the funniest fan encounter was that a guy came up to me when I was getting ready to get on the subway, and he said, you know, I really resonate with Girls, especially that scene where you pee on that girl in the shower. Like, you know, I pee on my girlfriend all the time in the shower, and, you know, I've never seen it in a movie, and I thought it was a very random, scary event in my life. Yeah.
Best piece of advice you ever received?
Best piece of advice I ever received was at school, actually. A guy named Ralph Zito, who's a teacher there. Some of his best advice to me was to not always say no.
Worst piece of advice?
That press is good. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Worst piece. Yeah, I don't know.
Person you'd most like to take to lunch?
David Byrne, this week.
Proudest accomplishment?
Being here. Yeah.
Smart, Adam.
I thought I was going to say you, actually, for the lunch thing, but I'm not going to save it.
What's your favorite thing about Hollywood?
You know, storytelling and its effect, I think.
What don't you like about Hollywood?
Everything else. Yeah.
Place we'd most likely find you on a day off?
Upstate New York, I think. I go up there a lot.
Adam Driver in 10 years?
Upstate New York.
We have some questions from our social media, which you distaste.
For other people, it's good. For me, it just doesn't work.
At Adam Driver, Aholic, that's his name.
Oh.
On Twitter, did you ever get to bond with your castmates while shooting Star Wars?
Bond? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, as much as you can, I guess. We kind of went out for these forced dinners, you know, but which were actually kind of fun. But yeah.
Are you easy to get along with?
Am I easy to get along with? Yeah, I think.
Are you easily directed?
Yeah, I like not knowing. If someone else thinks that they do it, I'm open for a suggestion. Harrison, I had nice interactions with. Daisy, I think, is all great. I knew Oscar from before.
At Half Past Podcast, without giving away any spoilers, what's one aspect about Kylo Ren you're excited for fans to see in the next film? Good question. We're not revealing anything, but an aspect.
I think, maybe this is such a general answer, but, humanity, even though that's very much a blockbuster movie, and I'm aware of that, there was no taking that for granted, and that we were forced to be general. There was a lot of plot points that we knew were operating in the first one that we are get to explain more in the second one that make both of them make sense, but that they do kind of feel kind of socially active to me too, in that they're and George Lucas. This is a long answer, but George Lucas, originally a lot of Star Wars was in response to Vietnam, and I think a lot of what I remember talking about with JJ and Ryan was, this idea of terrorism and two sides kind of being morally justified to behave however they wanted to get what they thought was absolutely correct.
Who directs the next one?
Rian Johnson just directed this one.
At Amy Beer on Twitter, in the spirit of your role in Silence, what book are you reading right now?
It wasn't about silence, but Jim Jarmusch told me this book about trees called American Canopy, so I'm reading about that right now.
K Mansion on Twitter, is it hard for you to watch your own acting?
Yeah, I can't do it. Or when I do, it feels terrible.
Lila Berry on Facebook, what's it like when you go back home? What do your friends and family make of your success?
I think they're very proud of me. It's good. But it's also very strange.
What is your favorite food? Ask R. Lewin44 on Twitter.
Cereal. I don't know if that counts, but
cereal.
Yeah.
I love Honey Nut Cheerios.
Really?
What do you love?
Well, I like Cracklin' Oat Bran. I like randomly. Yeah. That's really bad for you. All cereal is kind of bad.
Yeah.
The Cracklin' Oat Bran's really good.
And finally, Dave Smith on Facebook. You're a badass. Are there any other projects in the works you can tell us about?
I just finished this movie with Steven Soderbergh that I really liked. I think is.
I thought he retired.
Yeah, he didn't. Well, he did, but then he's not anymore.
What's the movie about?
It's called Logan Lucky. It's about kind of a heist at a NASCAR event. It's really unique, I think, and the people in it are great.
Adam, it's been a delight.
Yeah, such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Big thanks to my guest, Adam Driver. Be sure to see him in the final season of Girls. That debuts February 12th on HBO, as well as the new films Silence and Patterson, both out now in theaters. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things.